Welcome to the Sabbath Cafe Podcast. This is episode 136, Life Lessons from 2025. For transcripts and more, please go to sabbathcafe.substack.com. Happy New Year! I spent some time in December to think over what happened over 2025. It helps me to wrap things up and get ready for the new season. If you get a chance, I totally recommend doing this. And here's what I learned. The end of the year, 2025, it's been a good reflection time for me to take a pause at the end of the year and to kind of look back. It's always been very helpful to consolidate some of these ideas. You know, there are some years where you feel like it's very flat and not much have changed. But I feel like this year, a lot of changes happened in my life. And sometimes it's the changes that happen around you, right? Like things are happening to you. But I feel like this year, it's a little bit of both. It's not so much things are happening to me. I feel like God has been asking me a lot of questions and brought me new ways of thinking. And some of these journeys, they didn't just start this year. I mean, looking back, I could see them. It's been years. One of those is my involvement with my neighborhood, with my community. A year ago, I was kind of saying that I got involved with some volunteer work, just really local. You know, scripture says, love your neighbors. I literally follow the scriptures. I'm volunteering to do some projects around here. And that project has really led me to even more involvement. And so this year, I've kind of I took up a official position. It used to be a very informal work, but it has expanded, has evolved. And I just thought that was quite interesting because it's a lot more formal. I can't just do things nilly-willy and, like when you just volunteer. There's no expectation, there's no requirement. But now this new position, it's a little bit formal. So there's commitment involved. Actually, you learn a lot about how to run a nonprofit organization. You just don't know where it's going to go. Like, don't despise your small beginnings, right? I always say that, but I really saw it this year because this journey in this one area really started in a very, very small way about 2 years ago. I had this inkling in my heart that somebody needs to step out and do this. And it turned out that somebody was me. I just put one foot in front of the other, and it just kind of really led me to a formal position today. Looking forward, I feel like, wow, there's a lot more for me to learn, and also changing in mindset, right? Changing in mindset from just doing a volunteer work to a formal work. There's a lot of shifting, a lot of changing, but it's a growing experience. And I feel like my inside in this new area of community involvement have just really expanded. And it's really interesting because I've always been involved with volunteer work. I helped out with my church for a long time. And to now, this is a different kind of a volunteer work, but in the public sector, I'm expanding even more ways that I didn't expect. Deep down inside, I really do feel like God is opening doors for me. The transition just happened the end of the year. I'm kind of looking back. And I'm looking forward. And you see this projection, so to speak, where God has led you step by step, and then how he is pointing you to go forth in this direction. So I honestly don't know what the future has for me because this is the one area I sort of fell into it. That's definitely one thing that came to mind. That was very exciting. And so looking back the past couple of years, it really was really helpful for me to look back at this journey of what led me to this place. And it just been reminding me of just also something else that I've been learning. All of my lessons are kind of interconnect with each other, but I guess that would make sense because these are the things that we learn from life, right? And something else that I've been really thinking about is how a lot of learning, it's not like Instagram at all. It's not like the TikTok videos at all. The real learning experience doesn't come in 30-second increments. When you watch these 30-second videos, they look so easy, so simple. I used to love to watch these videos where they would bounce ping pong balls into jars. Finally, this one content creator, I loved it. He showed how many tries he took to build a ping pong ball ladder. But at the end, it was like 250 tries. And I was like, gosh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for adding that piece of reality behind that video. Because for me, a lot of times, I don't know, it's my brain or something. You watch these cooking videos and you went, wow, that's easy, until you try to make a recipe yourself and the kitchen looked like World War III just happened. The food looks nothing like what they made in the video. And that's kind of what I realized. A lot of my learning process is very much unlike the videos. That real learning is slow, it's messy. The secret of the success is to realize how much time and effort that went in behind these videos and how much time and effort these experts put into building their skills so they can make it look so effortless. And sometimes I look at these videos and it kind of conditioned me to have these very unrealistic expectations that whenever I try my hands at something, that it'll just be instant success. And just from looking back, I realized how I got here wasn't instant. There were a lot of many steps that I took. And that was another lesson that I really felt like was a theme this year, was that God just kept reminding me to not give up. And I think it was because with every step I take, whether it's learning art or podcast or just in my community service, there's always a lot of mistakes like I made. There are always things where I hit a wall and I would just take a break because I just would feel so dejected, or I get easily sidetracked. My friends that know me know that, how easily sidetracked I get. But God just always reminded me to not give up. Whenever I feel very disappointed at myself or disappointed at the outcome, God just kind of remind me, just re-engage, just begin again. And I've talked about that concept, and beginning again has really been my saving grace this year. Just re-engage. Whichever project that I've been in, if I feel like God's just kind of reminding me of it, it feels embarrassing. Yeah, I shouldn't have just let it slide. I should not have left my podcast listeners waiting for months without a new episode. At the end of the day, I just felt like, okay, I need to just get my hands dirty and continue, and don't give up on the process. Don't give up on the project. I loved craft also. And just like many other people who have attention deficit tendencies, we have so many countless unfinished projects because new things are always more exciting, new patterns, new ideas. But this year, I just felt God was kind of saying, don't start a new one. Pick up from one of your old projects and finish it. And that was a great learning experience for me, to just kind of pick up a project and just stay with it and stick with it. And I was able to finish it. Finishing that project did wonders for me mentally, that I was able to finish something. And it just really encouraged me to just continue. Of course, there's some things that you can't go back, right? I would say 90% of the things that I decide to pick up, I decide to re-engage. God has been really faithful to bless it. Now that I look back and I realize I'm here and I did accomplish a lot this year, but it didn't come through 30 seconds of miracle projects where I just try something and boom, there it goes. Everything is perfect. Nothing real, nothing solid came from that. Nothing substantial came from 30 seconds of anything. Everything that I accomplished was putting my feet on the ground and taking the next step in the process. That's just really taught me to learn to be faithful and to learn to ignore the part of me that just want to go off and chase after new and exciting things, and to continue to re-engage and do the next thing. As you continue to engage with the process, breakthroughs happen very suddenly. And I just want to take this chance to encourage anyone out there that just feels like they're working on something, whether it's their health condition, their schoolwork, and they just feel like they're doing the right things, and they just kind of hit that first wall and they feel very dejected because they're doing all the right things, but they're not seeing the result they want. And I just want to continue to encourage you to keep going, because your breakthrough, that result, you may not see it now, but if you keep going that right direction, you will see it, and it will happen suddenly. And that's very unexpected to me. I guess because in real life, you're not going to see your weight loss in like a day or even a week. Sometimes it takes a month of consistent changing habit to see any kind of a difference. And sometimes because we have been in one place for too long, and so when we're trying to change and shift, it takes a lot of work and time. Well, because I think change sometimes happens so slowly in real life that we don't realize it. Also, it's the same thing in a learning process. A lot of times in the learning process, we're retraining our bodies, we're learning a concept. It takes a while for your mindset to shift, to go from learning the new thing to when these concepts starts to feel more comfortable, until it finally these things click and then you're like, boom, you get it. And when you have that breakthrough, that's what real learning process is like. And that's why I think, kind of looking back, I realized that a lot of changing and learning, it's about re-engaging with the process, and don't look at the results so much, because before you know it, the breakthrough will happen just like that. A lot of things in life are not like the social media videos. When I finally start to understand what real change looks like, what real progress look like, it just makes me very excited, because now I'm not getting so stuck when I hit my first wall. I've learned to give myself time, and I've learned that if I just re-engage with the process and just take the next step, I know that God will eventually open the door to the next season. I know that eventually I will see the result that I've been working towards. Kind of looking back at this year, I feel like that's just what I've been learning, is that I've unlocked the learning process that is best for me. And that's something that's just very exciting to look forward to 2026. And that's kind of like what I mean. Some years you feel like a lot of things are happening all around you, but you don't feel like you've really changed. But this year, 2025, I look back and realize, wow, I have really changed a lot on the inside. And that's something that's very exciting for me. And so if you've listened to this far, I want to thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for taking the time to follow my life journey. You are very important to me. It's really funny because recording the podcast is actually a very lonely job. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm looking at my script. I'm looking at my monitor, and I don't even know who's listening. I don't have very good stats, so I don't really know who's all listening out there. But I just know that this is something I find meaningful. I want to just thank you. Knowing that you're listening out there really encourages me to keep going and to keep sharing and to keep getting better at making podcasts. And so I want to thank you, my listeners, everybody who listen. I hope that the content that I make have been helpful for you, have encouraged you somewhere along the way. And that would be the biggest reward for me making these content. And so I want to take this time to thank every single one of you out there that's listened to me thus far. And as we go forward to 2026, I just want to encourage every single one of you to not give up. Don't give up on the things that are important to you, and to just continue to re-engage. Whatever it is that you look back this year and you feel like, I don't want to give up on that. It's important to me, whether it's your health or a class or a subject matter or a relationship, whatever it is that's meaningful to you, that means something to you, don't give up. In 2026, keep going. Pick up where you left off and just begin again. Begin again as a beginner and just re-engage with the process. God will help you and God will bless you. And one day, I believe that you're going to see your breakthroughs. And that's it for me, signing off on the end of 2025. God bless you, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Sabbath Cafe Podcast. And we'll see you next time.